Oh my goodness.
Do you know, I've been rambling anyway, so that's really good that we're doing this again.
That's fine. All right, everybody, we have the amazing Meg Salter with us, and I have done her official bio and how long she's been around and her job and all the rest of it. But I do want to start with initially a massive thank you to you, Meg, because you're not just a facilitator and a speaker and an industry representative and getting out there, but you are also one of the founders of Travel Industry Women Facebook group, which currently has over 7,000 members, based mostly in Australia, is what I get the feeling. But it's a very supportive and informative group, which is there to assist one another here in the industry with a whole range of information. And I've seen that right from when it was started. Now, it's a really crazy time. And to see the action in the group and how you are in there as one of the admins and facilitators for that group, it's been beautiful to show the Together in Travel movement. It's something that has really spread throughout the industry, that slogan, but also how we are all able to come together. And your Facebook group has been there to support everybody. Things shifted so quickly, and I hope that you'll tell us how the group actually grew in those first few weeks. But one thing that I certainly saw was initially the shock, the anger, the sadness. People started drinking. There was then depression thrown in. Yeah, I know you and I both getting swiggy with we'll talk about that. But there was a lot of confusion and frustration and grief. I think everybody experienced the different stages of grief throughout those first 3 to 6 months. And then it was, okay, now what am I going to do? But throughout this whole process and throughout this time, I just want to say thank you, a massive thank you for being so visible, being supportive, for showing up, even when I'm sure that it was challenging for you. And I remember very clearly a number of sessions with you sitting out in your backyard, hiding in the dark, with the bikini on and drinking straight from a bottle of wine. I just want to say a massive thank you for showing up and really being there for the industry, because it's not something a whole lot of people had the courage to do. So can you tell us a little bit about how that all started and why you did that?
Oh gosh, listen, I've always been a little bit loose, and I think those in the industry who know me will know that. Just in the lead up to this recording, actually, Roz gave me now if you do accidentally drop a swear word, we'll deal with it. It's okay. So I think everyone sort of knows that, you know, I say I just say whatever comes. I have no filter. And I found that the Travel Industry Women's page, there was a lot of grief, there was a lot of distress actually, really early on. And we, you know, I mean, the whole group was actually started by Maxine Wiggs from Resource. And Max is obviously a piece of furniture in the industry as well. She's been around and everyone sort of knows her. But she was like, doing a lot of work with women in construction and women in different areas. And she was like, what we need? Like there's women in tourism, but we actually need a Travel Industry Women's group. Let's just see what happens. Let's start one up. And so she, with Mel Chapman and Angela Middleton, she actually started up Travel Industry Women. And then they invited me on just to have sort of some of the tougher conversations managing the admin with a group that just grew incredibly quickly. I think after she started it, and it was just an experiment. Let's see if it's wanted in the industry. I think she had about, 300 people join in the first 15 minutes or something. And then it was like, oh my God, now we've got 1,000. And then when COVID hit, numbers just exploded because everyone really did need that support. And we found that women were coming and just needed to be able to be honest, to be open, to know that they wouldn't be judged, to talk about issues that do, I guess, probably emotionally affect more females than males. And it just became an incredibly safe place. There was a lot of admin going on just to make sure that it has been kept a safe place, but I'm just so proud of the support that's been offered. Some of the things that
by some of the conversations that were started in there, or
pleasantly surprised, I think. So, right in the early days, I remember, I think there was someone in a Hello World office who was, I've only been here for about 6 months. I don't know what I'm doing. I've now got this client. COVID's hit. I've got to unravel stuff. I need help. And someone from Flight Centre head office contacted them to help them. We've got mobile agents and home users and everyone from all of these different areas, corporates, product, marketing, wholesale, insurance, all coming together and just saying, holy crap, we actually really need to pull together now. And I think I was surprised by how quickly everyone dropped all barriers and walls and everyone just pitched in to help. And I think that's probably the beauty of that group, and it's so lovely to see that continue as well. Now things are picking up.
Oh, I absolutely agree, and I think that's also where we've come with Travel Agent Achievers as well, is to have that support, the collaborative approach. We are all in this together, and if I can provide a resource for somebody that helps them just be able to take action without having to think about it, that gives me joy and makes my heart sing. But it's also where I know for me, my whole life has just been the opportunity to come from a place of service, and I see that with so many industry professionals. That's one of the reasons why we do what we do, because we love being able to help other people. So to have that group and the collaboration that came through, and it still does, I still see that in the group as well, that people are just offering up advice, information, contacts, resources, and to just support one another. It's beautiful. And is there something that you're going to do with the Facebook group? Like, have you got plans for it?
Oh, we don't know, to be honest. We spent a lot of time during COVID just making sure that everyone was okay. Yeah. So if we saw sort of an angry comment or someone who sort of did a little bit of a call out, or there was something coming through that we were a little bit concerned about, someone from admin would jump on the phone and we'd actually hook people up to make sure that everyone was okay. So we had, members doing, visits with people that they might have known, because we were actually really concerned for their mental health and their well-being. We were bringing people together to make sure that, there were support groups. And that's probably where the getting swiggy with it came as well, because, behind the scenes, I spent a lot of time on calls. And because, Iridian tanked, like, everything that I had, in a pipeline for 12 months in terms of conferences and workshops just imploded as well.
Because so it was Iridian was more of a face-to-face.
It's all face-to-face.
All face-to-face. Yeah.
It was all face-to-face. Yeah. I love jumping on flights, and I did the majority of my work in airports. Yeah. So I would fly to work so that I could, be in the room with people. But that all tanked, and I think they're getting swiggy with it stuff. I was like, God, this has come up over and over again. I'm just going to do a blast to the group and just deal with this issue, and it might be transferable skills, or, how am I going to get another job, or I can't deal with the anxiety, or I'm worried about, the men in my life as well, getting swiggy with it about taking care of the blokes as well, because, they're a much greater suicide risk in terms of statistics than females are. So there was a lot of concern around that as well. And it was all just dealt with in this really lovely space. I would never put the stuff that I had on that group on my own Facebook page. Like my parents would see it.
I know you a lot better now, Meg, just like a couple of those sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think because it's such a safe space and everyone felt that, it just felt like the right thing to do. And it was fun.
Absolutely.
Enjoyed it.
Being able to share and be quite open as well with what you're experiencing. And that's what we see here on the podcast too, is just what I'm experiencing or what you're going through. You are not alone. And there are other people who are feeling or experiencing the same thing. And the feelings of being alone can be quite heavy. So if we can step up and say, hey, we're all here. We got this. You can get through this. Yeah. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Oh my God. And I think, there were a lot of other people doing stuff as well. There's some great groups. Ours is travel industry women, but there's a whole host of other fantastic groups for different segments and both genders, obviously. And obviously the stuff that you've been doing as well, Roz, is just fantastic. Like, I really take my hat off to you, putting, your job aside as well and your clients and making sure they're okay, but also taking the time to bring others up through the ranks as well, because that's definitely what the industry needs as we rebuild, is that passing down of wisdom. And it's never actually been more important. So hats off.
Thank you. So we are moving into this completely new era now, and there are so many buzzwords that we've used over the last 18 months that I, have chosen not to use.
Yeah, we're pivoted, baby.
Oh my gosh. But now
it's unprecedented.
The new era and the new things that are happening. I'm like, man, this is going to do another thing that we're going to be thinking about. But the industry has really been shaken up. You and I and a number of other people have also stepped up to say, well, what can we do to help each other right now? What can we do to support one another? And I agree with you with making those phone calls, the hundreds and hundreds of Zoom calls that I'm sure you've been on and I've been on, just to say, what is the next step? What can you do right now? What is the next and a lot of people have decided that they can't do this or they don't want to do this anymore. And the industry has given them this big shake up themselves to say, that's it, I'm out, I am now leaving. I know is it almost half of the travel professionals, do you know, that are now no longer in the industry in Australia? I know that there was quite a big chunk that actually left.
I don't know what the stats are. I would be really interested to know. But what I do know is that when it first hit, there were...
I think it was 35,000 here in Australia.
Like massive statistics, like really, really big numbers of people leaving the industry. But they were obviously made redundant or furloughed. And so that wasn't really their choice. And I don't know the numbers around that, but I think that was a really horrible and really interesting period. And then, of course, there were the people who did put their head down. They were like, I'm just going to stick this out. And then I think probably when this next round of lockdowns happened, they just can't do it. They don't have the energy to do it, and they don't have the emotional resilience to really get through. And so there was another sort of wave, I think, of people leaving. To be honest, I'm seeing another one now. Yeah. And there's a lot of people contacting me now and saying things are picking up. I don't have the energy. And I wasn't expecting that, but I think it does probably make sense. There's probably quite a bit of common sense behind that. Oh, God, I just can't do it for another couple of years now. And in particular, there's going to be so many people who need to be retrained in the industry, and we all know how exhausting that is. And so, I think that it's the IP and the depth that's been lost is incredibly sad. However, people have got to do what's best for them at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone has to make those decisions for themselves and work out what is the next step, because I've certainly seen with a number of professionals that have been furloughed or stood down or have lost their jobs, there has been a number that have gone, you know what, I still want to do this and I still love what I do, and they've moved into different areas. So from a mobile point of view or a work from home, they've decided, I still want to be in the industry. I love what I do and I love what I've always done. So I want to stick it out. But they're also moving into a completely different area as well with, okay, I've had the shop front and people come to me. Now, how do I actually run a business behind this and get people through the door? So there's a whole lot of new skills that, as you say, people are going to need, a lot of new habits. And one of the things that I love about you, and you have spoken about for so many years, is habits and attitudes. So I love habitudes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So yes. when things get tough, like, what do you see as some of the habits or attitudes or habitudes that we need to tap into right now? Have you got any ideas around that?
Yeah, I do. Listen, I think, I'm always a glass half full type of girl. So I'm always looking for the positive lining. And I think there's been a real push. The people who will do very well in the industry are the ones who at the beginning thought, right, if I can't do what I really want to do, which is be a travel agent, I'm going to go out and I'm going to upskill. So they've done courses, they've worked on their professional development, they might have gotten fit, but they've done all of this stuff that's actually going to make them sort of better coming into the industry. A couple of people in particular, in fact, I had a lot of calls with people saying, I don't know what to do, I just want to stick it out. I can't imagine doing anything else. How long do you think it'll be? And I'm like, if you need the money, dude, get another job, because it's not going to come from the industry until all of this blows over. And they felt very guilty about that. There was a lot of guilt, almost like they were sort of breaking up with the industry or something. And there's this and there is an amazing sense of loyalty, which is very special to the industry. But my advice was always, if you need money, you don't have to feel guilty about this, but see it as an opportunity to upskill, because when you come back, you'll be better. And there's people who have gone out and they've got fantastic jobs and they still plan on coming back, but with heaps more skills, But I think in terms of those habitudes, there's got to, we definitely have to have a habitude around taking care of ourselves. One of the conversations I have really relished in, marinated in, that's happening on the travel industry women's page at the moment, is the conversations that are, posts by, say, a very well-known and well-respected cruise consultant who says, I've got a particular client and they've come to me, they've always been really rude to me, I hate dealing with them, how can I politely tell them I'm not going to take their business now? So there's this lovely element of, oh, hang on, I'm rebuilding it, I've got choice.
Correct.
What is my niche? Who are my clients? Who do I want to deal with? Someone made a comment the other day about, I'm only booking people who are double vaxxed. And then, of course, another woman came in and said, it's everyone's choice. You can't discriminate. And this woman came back and her answer was, I'm not discriminating. I'm completely understand. I'm pro-choice with vaccinations. I just can't unravel another freaking holiday. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I think that there's this lovely element that's coming through in terms of habitudes around, let's take a step back. Let's actually plan this rebirth. Let's see this as an opportunity to relaunch rather than, we're back to normal. And we go back to that crazy ass hamster wheel that we hated before COVID hit. So all of my habitudes are really around appreciating and making the most of having choice now. Who do you want to deal with? How do you want your clients to describe you? Who do you want your client base to be? How are you going to communicate with them? Start again.
Yeah.
Do it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my obsession with habitudes at the moment.
Yeah. So we've done a podcast episode, and I'll link to it in the show notes as well, around finding your ideal client and who do you want to serve and who do you want to take care of. We've got a great resource with that as well, where you can actually map it out. You just download the resource and you can map out and ask yourself the questions. We've got a whole lot of questions there that you can say, yes, I do want that sort of person. No, I don't, and just break it down, because you are going to be so much clearer with your marketing efforts and taking those bookings on board, but also knowing when to say no. And at the end of the day, I don't think that we need to be scared of not getting bookings.
No.
There are so many clients out there, and one thing that I try and stress upon is that there is enough business to go around. We have a massive collaborative approach over the last 18 months. I don't want to go back to hearing about the competition and, oh my gosh, they've got more bookings than I've got. It's, there is enough business to go around. We all work with different people, and we all have the opportunity right now to decide who we want to work with. I've even spoken about clients that I've fired, Meg, over the last 18 months, some very high profile people that spoke to me in a way that I was disrespected and felt really minimalized, and they made some crazy accusations about my business, how I was going to go under. I'm like, you don't even know what I've done. You have no idea how I've put my cash flow management into place. You have no idea the marketing that I do around my business. You just have no understanding or idea. So you can't go around flouting those sorts of things. And I've made those choices because I know who I want to work with moving forward, like I know a lot of our listeners here do as well. So thank you for saying that.
Oh God, it's honestly, it's so important. I'm writing a grant at the moment for my other business, which we can talk about later. But the very first question that they ask you in every grant application that I write, and you know, I do a lot of work in particular with startups and people who have, you know, a great idea, and you know, large enterprises, small enterprises. And the first thing you say is pick your customer, like define your avatar, name your avatar. Until you've done that, you've got no business. And it's not easy to do, and you always feel like you're going to be missing out on opportunities.
Or excluding people.
Yeah, but you know, I just think that you've got to be really, really firm about that. And you will not get this opportunity again. That's the other thing. You will never have another opportunity like this to completely redefine what you do and who you do it for. And it is a gift. And I know the last 2 years have been horrible. That was nearly a swear word, sorry. However, I know I swallowed it. But you know, you will never ever get this time again. Such an amazing opportunity, and everyone is so willing to share. So if you want any information now, even your competitors are going to go, well, this is what I did, or this is why I think you should value yourself, or this is where I see we're going to be. And you know, God,
there's great learning
bring
opportunities
it on.
for everyone,
Oh,
and people that have been in the industry for a long time, but also those that are just coming into it. Because the other thing that I've seen, and you will have heard this as well, is that there are people who are deciding to step into the travel industry now, that they're saying, I have moved and changed my career because I want to do what I love. So there are people that are also starting travel businesses now, but they also understand what needs to be done from the ground up, or they're taking the opportunity to learn and starting with this beautiful gift to say, I need to understand who I want to work with before I jump into everything else.
Yeah. So there was a woman actually who joined the Travel Industry Women group, just great chick. I thought it was a joke actually, so I reached out to her straight up because she runs a business called it was something like COVID travel or something like really. I was like, but anyway, that was where she lived, so that was her area in the UK or whatever it might have been. It might have been Corona or something, but anyway, it was something really dodgy. But in the UK, it was just her side gig. So, you know, there's a lot of these multi-level marketing businesses that are starting up in America. There might be some American viewers watching, but North America and Canada, and in the UK and through Europe as well, you know, there's kind of this lovely little side gig that a lot of people can start selling these holidays as well. Really well incentivized. Obviously, it's very quick. You know, they get a client base, and then obviously they start to build teams underneath them. Works in skincare, works in Tupperware, works with bras, probably going to work with travel as well. But I think that there's a lot of people who are, even if they don't want to drop everything and make this their full-time career, they really love selling travel. And I think one of the things that's been really lovely to see with some of those groups is that it's easy to sell travel, you know, because you're selling dreams, not dishwashers, which is what Yella Wilson, my first area leader, used to say. And it's just that really lovely, I guess, opportunity for agents to realise that they can do something that they want to do, or people who want to get into travel, they can do something that's exciting and not a drag for a living and earn money from it. And, you know, there is the opportunity now to be able to do that as a professional without having to start from the bottom on the hamster wheel and all the rest of it. So I think that there's going to be heaps and heaps of opportunity, lots of people wanting to join the industry. And I'm not actually concerned about the talent coming into the industry, because I think that the last 2 years, if anything, has really taken the perception of agents to be, you are a retail person and you're going to sit in a shop or, you know, in a farm somewhere and just pick up the phone and book things, to you are a professional and you will help me when I'm in need. And that sort of shift is going to be really interesting as well. And I think it will attract a new brand of entrepreneur, which I'm actually quite excited about.
Yeah, I'm excited about that as well. Everybody being able to share their expertise and knowledge and professionalism, and that we are seen as the experts as well. I think that beautiful opportunities here for everybody that are in the industry. So that's super, super cool and really exciting that we get the opportunity to reinvent, do things differently as we move forward as well. So there's another thing that I've learnt from you in addition to habitudes, and that was, I don't know the technical terms, and I'm sure that you've done all the brain training around this, but it's taking care of yourself. But also, when we've seen so much overwhelm and agents that have said, I can't handle anymore. One thing that I learned from you was the brain boxes. Can you tell us about that, the open and the close, and your philosophy on it?
Well, it's not my philosophy. I wish I invented this. I didn't. It came from Bluma Zyganik, who was a Bulgarian psychologist or something along those lines. But she was studying in Austria and Germany, and she was doing a lot of work on procrastination and how to overcome procrastination. And this is way back in the early 1900s. And what she realized through a whole amazing series of events and sort of an opportunity with a waiter of all things, she realized that people have these things called sort of open loops and closed loops.
Yep, open and closed loops. Yep.
Open and closed. And so there's a lot of things in our brains that once they sort of get in, they become a bit of a brain worm, and they kind of sit there until they're closed. They just kind of sit there open. So it's a little bit like, when your mobile rings or you hear someone's mobile ring and you only hear half a song. And then that song is stuck in your head until you kind of finish it, or you can get it over with,
My husband put the song on my phone, and every time I answer it, it says, "'Cause we're gonna be legends." I don't know anything else other than that part of the song, and I often answer it singing it, even though I'm a terrible singer. That open loop, that is in my head.
It's in your head. And that happens all the time, and it's happening more and more often because, of course, it's now a marketing technique. So Bloomer's thing was, if you want to overcome procrastination, you're sitting on something, what you need to do is start it, because as soon as it's an open loop, it'll sit in your head and annoy you until you finish it, right? That's exactly what her master's or thesis was on. And, of course, we find that all the time. So we've got that now with the news or Facebook or even just texting and WhatsApp groups, and they're open loops. They don't finish. In the olden days where you'd send a text and that'd be it, and then you'd get a text back, it would be in a different area and that would be it. And we weren't addicted to that, but now we're addicted. And the news as well. Like, no one gets the newspaper and reads it and thinks that's the news for the day. Like every half an hour, we're like, oh, what's happened? Oh, what's happened? Because it's an open loop and we get addicted to it. Right. So in terms of the Zyganik effect and how to sort of stop that feeling of overwhelm, two things you need to do. And one is be really careful with prioritizing. So you need to make sure that what you're letting in your brain as an open loop is something that you do want to complete, and it's not just clutter. So things like, there's a lot of people now who don't watch the news. They have taken a whole heap of apps off their phones. Every Friday morning I went through a stage of unsubscribing from everything I'd accidentally subscribed to, just because it's clutter I don't need that clutter around me. And it's not just, paper clutter these days, it's brain clutter. So making sure that you only sort of let in what you do want to complete or what you do need to finish. And just managing things like your inbox as well. I mean, one of the biggest issues we have, in particular in the industry, someone might say, hey, I want this done, or I need, you to follow up with this. And it's going to be a big job, is we sit there and go, when am I going to find the 2 hours to do this? As opposed to, what can I do right now that will help progress me to there? So what is the next step action only? Yeah. And if there are big things, then obviously we need to schedule them in so that we can tell our brain we're doing that on Friday at 3:00. We don't have to keep remembering to remember. It's sorted, it's there. But just making sure that we're really careful, we're really aware of what's open and what's closed. Yeah. I'm sure, I haven't done them, but I'm sure there's a couple of amazing sort of meditations you could probably Google just to do which would just be to really analyse what's in your head and what's important and what's not. And we've got to get really good at just deleting the stuff we're never going to get to. And the other thing,
go for it.
oh, we're never going to be finished anymore. Well, you'll never have an empty inbox. If your goal is like inbox 0, then give it 5 minutes. So you're always going to be teetering on the edge of finished these days. So I think it's really important to make sure that we're doing what we know we need to do and we want to do and what's important. And we're just not spending the time on stuff that isn't important to us, because you can't get it all done. You can't be everything to everyone. Now more than ever, we have to prioritise. So make it count.
I think one thing that I've certainly realised myself over the years is having a project management system or something that I can add a task into that says exactly what you said before. Come back to on Friday. Like, this is when I need to worry about that, or this is when that needs to have action taken upon it. But one thing that I have also learnt over the years in travel is I've had clients who might have called me on a Friday night and said, Ros, I know that I'm traveling tomorrow. What time's my flight? And I would have that memory to know exactly what they were doing, when they were doing it, and photographic memory, whatever you want to call it. But what I learned from you was that was one of the open loops that I was keeping open until they'd actually traveled. So that could have been for several months or weeks, whatever it was, but I knew instinctively, and I had to train myself as well as my clients to close that loop, put it in a project management system, and tell the client, set those boundaries and say, I sent it to you in an email yesterday.
Yes.
So I was able to close it for myself. And I was often feeling that there are so many things going on in my head. I'm not being productive to do the things that needed to be done quickly or well because I was so full up myself.
100%. We've got to get so much better at wiping our hard drive. Like, I used to be able to remember so much stuff that just wasn't actually important. And, same as you, I'd feel like I was almost in control of everyone. But, in building a new client base, we do have to make sure that we are educating our clients in how to be accountable for their own holidays and how to be accountable for their own travel. You can't be there when the earthquake hits. You can certainly offer help. You won't be there when, the volcano goes off in Iceland again and they're stuck there for the next 3 months. It's just, you can't do that. And you can try and remember the little details and make it as seamless as possible. But bending over and being someone, you're not their administrator. Yeah. And I think that if you act like that, that's how you'll be treated. So I think it's Susan Scott from Fierce Conversations who says, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you tolerate.
Oh.
And I'm just like, there's just some things I'm not going to tolerate anymore because it doesn't help me and it doesn't help them.
No,
but that is not industry specific. So I also do a lot of work with accountants and accounting firms. I'm working with some partners doing some in-source general management now. And one of the partners said, God, the thing that drives me crazy is I'll send everyone an email with all of their stuff and then they'll be buying a house and they'll come to me and they go, hey, can you send this to my bank manager? I'm like, I just said that to you, And I think that we do need to we need to educate our clients in this is what you need to do with this information. This is when you can use it. I'll be available, but I'm not going to drop everything.
Yeah. Having those boundaries.
Boundaries. Just don't tolerate a whole heap of stuff. You don't have to be mean about it.
Yeah.
But we've got kids. My kids need me to do that for them.
Yes.
My clients can fend for themselves, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's right. Our kids need us, not our clients.
Yes.
Absolutely. So there's now this massive shift that's happening in Australia and in the industry. What are your thoughts as we move forward on building or rebuilding business? I mean, for me, I like to think we need to be planning and the strategies. We need to be thinking about the big picture, but also customer service is really important and implementing professional things. So what are your thoughts around the rebuild of the industry?
Listen, we needed this opportunity to rebirth ourselves as professionals. we needed that. And it's been a really hard slog to get here. But for the 5 years, leading up to COVID, I was having a lot of very similar conversations around, you have to be planning, you have to be proactive, not reactive. We've got to get into the business space. We can't keep doing what we've already done or always done, because, the market expects something different now. OTAs changed the way we sell, yet the majority of people in the industry were still selling, teaching the same old sales steps, which don't work. And we can see that in the conversion rate. So it's just that, there was a real lack of common sense, I think, coming into COVID in some aspects, not in all. It's an amazing industry. But, we had the birth of the NDC. So, airlines were starting to look at how to improve their yield. Thomas Cook went under. He was the world's first ever travel agent, and then that global organisation, it's been around for hundreds of years or 100 years, went under. There were lots of wholesalers who were really struggling as well. And so I think we need to not just go, oh, the good old days. We need to say, no, let's analyse what was working and what wasn't. And let's take the good and then let's really plan for success. But let's plan, not just how to make as much money as we possibly can, and not just all those same old KPIs with, we've got to improve your margin, improve your inquiry rate, it's a numbers game and blah, blah, We actually have to be much more strategic and proactive about how we build a business that is going to support the type of lifestyle that we want. So there will be a lot of agents who are like, I want to work 7 to 7 on getting as many clients as possible, making a fortune, and that's what I want to do. Great. And there'll be other ones, other agents who say, actually, I want to deal with this particular segment. I want to communicate with them this way because I feel comfortable doing it this way. I want, this is where my comfort zone, this is where my sweet spot is. This is where I want to be an expert. And this is where I want to grow and develop as well. I want to be the global expert in this. We've never really had that opportunity so brightly shining in our faces before. In terms of the professional fees, my answer to, do you think we should be charging professional fees, is if you think you're worth it, and if you think you've got IP and you think you're going to deliver customer service, then charge whatever you want to, because people will pay it. Yeah. But if you don't think you're worth that, then don't charge it. Mm-hmm. But do some work on yourself so that you can get to the stage where you feel really comfortable charging, what you're worth. And I think the difference between, a Tiffany's ring and a Michael Hill jeweler's ring, they're both just as good. One's just a shitload more expensive. Oh, sorry, Swamp. One's just, a shitload more expensive. I've already said it now. And so we kind of value that more. And I don't think that the cheapest wins anymore. And I think we're coming into hopefully a lovely era where people are, I'm going to shop local because I want to support my local. They're not the cheapest, but they're my local. And I don't want that business to go under. And I'm going to spend a bit more on toilet paper because it's not wrapped in plastic, because I care about the environment. And so I think that we're almost coming to this perfect storm where agents could say, this is the value I provide. You saw this over the last couple of years. Go your own way if you want to. Yep. This is what it costs to do business with me. Yeah. And I think they're the agents who are going to probably set a new standard for the industry, and then everyone else will probably jump on board. But whoever's flying that flag, go nuts. I honestly don't think you can charge. I don't think you can charge too much at the moment. And we're seeing that just with what people are willing to pay just to get on a flight. I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah, they just want to fly. So how has your role changed over the last 18 months, and what's happening in your world right now?
Oh gosh, listen, I'm doing some really questionable homeschooling at the moment. You can probably hear kids in the background, and we're renovating as well. We're doing everything all at once. I'm trying to lose weight. There's so much going on. But Iridian obviously sort of imploded last year, along with heaps of other industries, and speakers and facilitators and trainers and coaches all around the world went, the same as the travel industry. So I was dealing with it really in two camps. And I ended up doing some consulting, which I actually found so boring.
Yeah.
Not in the travel industry. And it just didn't light my fire. But what did light my fire is everyone sort of asking for help. And there was lots of people asking me for help with resumes. And so I started writing them, and then I started getting people jobs. And I was like, oh, I'm not bad at this. And I get a lot of pride out of it. And I got to sort of make a meaningful difference. But my web designer in Sweden, who's always helped me with Iridian, I was on the phone to him with Iridian just saying, what are we going to do? We're going to pull everything online. What's the direction for your company? And I said, geez, Ray, I'm just writing resume after resume. I need to automate myself. And he said, we can do that. So I've hooked up with a girl who, she's people and culture, and she has worked in the travel industry, Kate Bartlett. She's been a friend of mine for years as well. Great chick. And we've developed a platform called Recruitable Hub. So I'm a woman in tech, which is hilarious because I actually have to ask my 8-year-old how to turn on our new smart TV.
Mine just gets the remote. My 7-year-old gets the remote. What do you do it, Mum?
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, housewives. But we've developed this platform, and it's, God, I'm a perfectionist. So I want everything to be perfect, and this isn't perfect yet, but we're getting there. But, we've developed this platform where anyone can go in and they can, pay $97, or there's free templates as well, but they can access really great professional templates that get through an applicant tracking system. So they're ATS friendly. They look really professional. They lay out all of the information that anyone will need, and they get people interviews. And quite often they get their comments as well, like, oh my God, I loved your resume. And then on the back of that, we've developed a cover letter writer where you can go in, you choose a matching template, and then it's all pre-written content. So fill in the gaps, and then you've got a professional cover letter. And that's been really, really exciting, actually. And hopefully, the next time we catch up, Roz, I'll be on my yacht because someone wants to buy it, like Seek or LinkedIn or so, someone like that. But at the moment, it's really been fascinating. And then, Iridian has taken off. This round of lockdowns, all my clients have come back and said, oh, we can't wait, we'll just do it virtually. So rather than flying and speaking at one conference in a day, I did 3 conferences the other day in one day with my kids homeschooling. So, I'd be down here, I'd go upstairs and scream at them for a little bit and come back down, put on my lippy again and, do another conference type of thing. So Iridian has really sort of taken off as well. So I'm in a fantastic place career-wise. I just need a little bit more time, really.
Another year. Are you still with it?
I haven't done that for a little while. I looked like a potato at the end of last year. So I had to go to fat camp and work out how to lose weight in January because I sort of look at myself, just these little piggy eyes looking out at myself. But I've got to get some weight off. I was drinking way too much. And I think when you, luckily I was, brave enough and had enough self-awareness to say, people might be laughing with you, but your liver's going to pack it in a second. So, but I probably need to do a little bit of
as well. I mean, that was something that you took everybody on the journey with in the Facebook group. And I know a lot of people that I work with resonated with it. To say, myself included, I've never been a big drinker, but I did find that during COVID, I was like, oh, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. I just can't handle it anymore. Go get me a drink. And I was then turning to wine, and I've never done that before. I'm more of a go to a swim up pool bar and have a pina colada. And then
Excuse me, this doesn't have an umbrella in it.
That's
Is this for
right.
me? Yeah.
Somebody get me an umbrella. No, but then the change as well. And I've certainly seen that. And I call them my COVID kilos that I'm now trying to get rid of, but also just to take care of my own self. And that is that you said initially during this chat is we have this opportunity to do things differently. We have this opportunity to take care of ourselves, set our boundaries, know exactly what we want and who we want to work with and how we structure our businesses, whatever that might look like. But now more so than ever, we have seen so much grief and horrible things in our lives and so many people impacted that we do need to take care of ourselves and our kids.
Yeah, I think this has been the great era of prioritization. And, I've got a Bachelor of Science as well, majoring in resource and environmental management. I've done a stint at Bioenergy Australia. I'm really into, climate change and preserving the environment. And obviously I love traveling, so I want it to be there. I want to be able to take my kids and I want them to be able to enjoy this incredible planet as well. But we haven't been taking care of the planet. We haven't been taking care of our families. We haven't been taking care of ourselves. And I really feel like, it's almost like someone looked down and just went, go to your rooms and have a really good think about how you're spending your life and what you're doing with your planet. And I want you to reevaluate. I'm going to give you enough time to reevaluate every single decision, And I really think that, that's what we need to do. And there's so many people who are, they've come into this and they're going, right, I need to get fit. Oh, I just need to spend time with my kids. Or I didn't realize I didn't know how to do maths. Or, there's this really incredible, or even the decisions around what toilet paper we buy, or, where we're going to go and how we're going to treat the planet better and people in it as well. I just think that there's such an incredible opportunity that we really need to sort of jump on the back of and piggyback off it and just make sure that we're making the choices that we need to make now before it is too late. Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to end on that note, Meg.
No.
Because I totally agree with you. And I love that we are on the same page. I love that you've been leading through change and helping so many other people as well. So thank you once again for that. Now, if people want to learn more about you, obviously there's the Facebook group for people to join that are in the industry. But how can people find you?
Listen, I do hang out on Travel Industry Women quite a bit. So you can definitely find me there. Although I did get hacked on Facebook, and so all the getting swiggy with it.
You did.
They're all gone. I had to set up a whole new profile, so I don't exist pre July this year, which is a little bit disappointing. But I definitely hang out there. But you can always check out recruitablehub.com as well if you need a resume or cover letter. And my email address there is meg@recruitablehub.com. If anyone wants to do any work, I've actually got a few people who have joined together and grabbed me in Iridium to do just some small group coaching sort of over a 6-week period. But they've actually pulled themselves together and come to me and said, we want to learn these things like how to do virtual presenting, how to lead through change, how to set up a business, all of that sort of stuff as well. So I'm doing a lot of sort of the conferencey type of virtual stuff over in Iridium as well.
Amazing.
Yep. But probably not as well as you do it, actually. I think you probably do it a lot better than me. You've got resources and stuff. I just wing it.
We're all in this together and doing whatever we can for an industry that we both absolutely love. So thank you so much. We will link to everything that you do in our show notes for the podcast. Meg, thank you for showing up, for being there and for being part of my world and my life as well. I know that we have met on numerous occasions, but I look forward to seeing you in person. Don't know whether we'll be hugging at that stage, but
I will be.
Yeah, I'm a hugger as well. So
oh yeah, I'm going to be humping people's legs off. But anyway.
All right, thank you so much, Meg. I look forward to seeing you in real life very, very soon.
Thanks for having me, Roz. It's been a pleasure.
Well, there you have it. My chat with Meg Salter. Yes, we did drop a couple of bombs there. So I hope you enjoyed the chat as much as I did. And if you do want to find Meg, go to recruitablehub.com, where she is working with a number of people, both in the industry and out of it, around their resumes, helping them get the job that they absolutely want. But for you here in the travel industry, know that we have got your back. We are both here. We love what we do, and we all look forward to seeing each other in person whenever we possibly can. Now, on that note, if you are looking to get your business in order, if you want to plan out and strategize for what you can be doing in 2022, we are offering you the opportunity to come and hang with us in person. So that's the Travel Agent Achievers community in person in Sydney in December, and also another date now in January. So if you go to travelagentachievers.com/planning day, you'll get all of the information. You can join us there in Sydney, Australia. For those of you that are international, please reach out to us. We are looking at some dates for the US, but also we are also available to run a virtual event if that's what you want. I look forward to chatting with you very soon. Have a great rest of your week. Take care, stay safe, and I'll speak to you soon.